Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about startup cost and expansion deductions. So there are two types of deductions that can be overlooked, especially to the aspiring entrepreneur or the gig worker developing an exit strategy. That is the startup costs and the expansion deductions. So in this video, we are talking about everything you must know about startup costs and expansion deductions, some of the things that you have to consider on a tax perspective, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, thank you to GigTax for verifying this information and making this video possible. Who can benefit from the startup costs deduction? New businesses that have incurred startup costs can benefit from the startup cost deduction. This includes entrepreneurs that have recently started a business, as well as those who are in the process of starting one. The deduction is available to businesses of all types and sizes, including sole proprietorships, partnerships, and corporations. As a gig worker, you are in business for yourself. You have costs that you have to have in order to get your business going. This also applies to those gig workers who have developed some kind of exit strategy, because the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal and not the goal. And these deductions make it more affordable to pursue your dreams. What business startup costs are deductible? So when starting a business of any kind, it's essential to understand what costs are deductible and what aren't. Deductible startup costs and deductible organizational costs are two categories that help new business owners save on taxes. Knowing which costs fall into these categories make a significant difference in the financial success of the business. Deductible startup costs. So when starting a new business, there are many costs that need to be considered. Fortunately, these costs may be tax deductible, helping new business owners save money on their taxes. These deductible business startup costs include costs that are necessary when starting or buying an active trade or business, such as research and development expenses may include costs incurred related to the creation and testing of prototypes, the development of new technologies, labor supply, or the refinement of existing products or services. Market research expenses may include costs paid to related surveys, focus groups, or other research methods to understand potential customers' needs and preferences. Employee training costs may include expenses related to onboarding new employees, such as training materials, instruction fees, and travel expenses. Okay, these first 3 points, research and development, market research, and employee training costs, those 3 points as a gig worker aren't going to account for much until you develop an exit strategy. So develop that exit strategy, then consider that. Advertising and promotion costs may include expenses related to creating and distributing marketing materials, such as brochures, flyers, or advertisements. To us as gig workers, that may be advertising for direct partnerships where you have some sort of business card, or you set up a digital business card and you pay that monthly or otherwise. Equipment and supplies costs may include expenses related to purchasing or leasing equipment and supplies necessary to operate the business. Now, this is one that we would definitely save a lot on. We have a bunch of different areas in which we invest in, including phones, cars, maintenance, dollies, wagons, bags, carts, laptops. The list can go on for days, especially if you're diversifying your niches. Professional fees such as legal and accounting fees may be incurred to help with business registration, tax preparation, or other legal or financial matters. Professional fees at the moment, I would say mostly accounting and business registration. Legal fees aren't going to affect us as much in most cases because the opposing counsel will target the company that we work with long before us. Rent and utilities during the startup phase, such as rent or office space, as well as utilities such as electricity, water, and internet service. Yes, that will apply if you have set up your home office space, which we are eligible for if you set up correctly. Deductible organizational costs. Deductible organizational costs are those incurred during the formation of a corporation or partnership. These costs may include expenses related to the preparation of legal documents such as articles of incorporation or partnership agreements, as well as any consulting fees charged by accountants or lawyers. So if you have an LLC or S Corp and you're having somebody set that up for you, then that would be applied. State fees or incorporating or registering the business may include expenses such as filing fees or franchise taxes required to register the business with the state. Same gist, the FL lawyer set that up for you. Those fees would also be considered a write-off. Organizational meeting costs may include expenses related to the initial meetings of the corporation or partnership, such as travel and lodging expenses for shareholders or partners. You're probably not going to need that unless you develop an exit strategy. Visa obtaining licenses and permits may include expenses relating to obtaining the necessary permits and licenses required to operate the business. If you're expanding into markets to where you're required to actually have certain certifications, let's say if you go medical courier and you need to get HIPAA certified or stuff like that, those would fall into that category. Costs associated with transferring assets to the new business may also be tax deductible. These costs may include expenses related to transferring assets such as real estate, inventory, or intellectual property of the new business. Like, you're probably not going to have to deal with that too much unless you have an exit strategy. You might be able to transfer your vehicle that way, but in most cases, you're using it for both business and personal. So, what startup business expenses are not deductible? While there are many startup costs that are deductible, not all expenses qualify. Some costs, such as personal expenses or those incurred before the business is operational, cannot be deducted. Examples of this include, but are not limited to, personal expenses, not to be confused by using personal items for business purposes. These are personal expenses, getting a meal, getting food for yourself, etc. Capital expenses. This was confusing for me at first. A capital expense is a one-time investment that a company makes to purchase, maintain, or improve its fixed assets. These assets can be physical, non-consumable, or intangible, and they are essential for a business to function. This is not to be confused with how people would pay for a remodel for a home so that they could do a cash out refinance on the home they invested in or something like that. This is a conversation about taxes, not refinancing. It's good to know if you're in real estate or something to do with your exit strategy to not confuse the two. Research and experimentation costs before the business begins operations. That's really nothing to do with us. It may be towards your exit strategy if you have something in that area, but not really. Expenses for acquiring intangible assets like patents or copyrights. I'm honestly surprised this doesn't fall under legal expenses, to be honest, but maybe that's why hiring a lawyer to provide that service of acquiring patents and copyrights can be a deductible expense, but while you're there, double check if that actually applies, you know what I'm saying? Costs related to acquiring an existing business. If you're gonna be buying a business for yourself, absolutely awesome. I'm rooting for you. That's not a write-off. Expenses related to issuing stock or other securities makes sense. Fines and penalties. Parking and tolls can be a write-off. A speeding ticket or a parking ticket cannot be. Expenses for lobbying or political activities. Good. I hate them both, and they shouldn't provide any more advantages than it already does. Costs related to tax-exempt income or other tax-exempt entities. Makes sense. If it's tax-exempt, you shouldn't be using it as a deduction as well. Expenses for creating or administering a pension plan or trust. Okay. Costs relating to issuing tax-exempt securities or financing through tax-exempt bonds. Again, if it's tax-exempt, why should it be a deduction as well? When can you take the startup costs and deductions? You can take the startup costs and deductions in the year that your business begins. The deduction is available for expenses incurred during the process of creating or investigating a new business, such as market research and advertising costs. The maximum amount of startup costs that can be deducted in the the first year is $5,000, with any remaining balance being amortized over the period of 15 years. That said, it's important to keep accurate records and consult with tax professionals to ensure that you're taking advantage of all tax deductions, and that is where GigTax is here to help. As somebody who ventured into self-employment via food delivery apps, the income is promising. That said, you are also faced with financial challenges such as navigating taxes as a self-employed individual and transforming your gig into a sustainable business. GigTax was founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with over 7,000 deliveries across 7 platforms since 2020. They understand the challenges of freelancers and rideshare drivers, couriers, online sellers, really gig workers of all kinds. And they are the #1 online tax preparation service designed to help maximize your tax savings and save you time, energy, and money. Enjoy exclusive discounts on tax prep services, as well as a range of other benefits such as electronic filing, strategy sessions, year-round direct access to tax pros and financial partners, the client app and portal, tax planning services, quarterly tax reviews, all of which are absolutely free and incredibly valued benefits when filing with GigTax. Book your free strategy session today at gigtaxservice.com/drivenwyld and enter the code WILD, all lowercase, to access your special offering. Let GigTax simplify, educate, and support you on your tax journey, whether you're a gig worker looking to make some extra money or becoming a successful entrepreneur leading an incredible lifestyle. Visit GigTax using the link in the description and get started with saving the money you made and making even more along the way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.